Hi everyone, my name is Lucy. I am an undergraduate TA for IEE 380 Probability and Statistics for Engineering Problem Solving course with Dr. Clough at Arizona State University. Today, I will be doing a tutorial on how to program your calculator to perform the F-inverse function, which will be especially useful for two sample hypothesis tests. I will be using a Ti-84 CE calculator for this tutorial, but this tutorial also applies to Ti-83s as well. For other calculators such as Ti-89s and Casios, they might require slightly different steps, or they might already have the function pre-programmed. I suggest looking on Google and YouTube for more information specific to your calculator model. Now let's begin our tutorial on programming the F-inverse function into your calculator. First, go to Program, which is right here. As you can see, there are three different tabs: Execute, Edit, and New. If you've watched my previous video on how to program the chi-inverse function, this is why we have the program function listed here. Use your right key to move to the New tab. Select 1, Create New by pressing Enter or 1. Here, the calculator will give you the option to name your function. Technically, you could name it whatever you want, but I suggest putting something descriptive like INVF for short. Once you finish typing the name, press the Enter key. Now we are getting to the trickier part, so please follow closely. You need to input the syntax exactly as shown in order for this to work. Take a look to the right of this calculator. We will be inputting the code under Input This Code line by line. For the first line, input quotation alpha equals quotation comma A, you need to first press Program. There are 5 different tabs, but go to I/O, which stands for Input-Output. You should select the first option, which is Input. Next, you need to type in quotation alpha equals quotation mark, comma A. The next step is to find the quotation mark. So go to alpha and then the plus sign. You'll see there's a quotation mark above it. Now we need to spell out alpha, A-L-P-H-A. It's a good idea to put your calculator in A-lock by doing second and alpha. This allows you to continuously input letters without having to press alpha multiple times. Now we have to enter a equal sign. You cannot just press enter like you usually do when you're calculating, so instead you need to go to second, math, and it should be your first option. And we enter our second quotation mark. Now we find the comma, which is right here. Press the button, and then we need to enter A again. To jump to the next line, we need to press Enter on your calculator. Our second line of code is really simple. It's 1 minus A, arrow A. Make sure you use a minus sign and not a negative sign. That means something different. To type the arrow, press the store or STO arrow key, which is located above the On button. And then we need to type A again. To jump to our next line of code, press Enter on your calculator. For our third line of code, it will be really similar to what we did for our first line. To jump to the next line, we need to press Enter on your calculator. Our fourth line of code will be really similar to what we did for our first and third lines. To jump to the next line, we need to press Enter on your calculator. For our last line of code, press the Program key. Now go to the I/O tab, then select Display, which is number 3. Now press the Math key, select Solve, which should be at the very bottom. To find the f-CDF function, you need to press the second key and then distribution. It should be option 0. Here, you will have the opportunity to enter the lower and upper bounds. Keep 0 for the lower bound, but insert X for upper. For df numer, which stands for the degrees of freedom for the numerator, insert D. For df denom, which stands for the degrees of freedom for the denominator, insert E. Once you're finished, you need to press enter and then enter again. For the last couple of steps, you will need to insert -a, x, 0, and right parenthesis. Remember, use the minus sign, not the negative sign. There is no need to press enter to access the next line of code. Once you're done inputting all the code, access Edit menu by pressing the alpha key and F5. If you want to quit the editor and return to the main page of the calculator, select option 8. Or if you're super excited to try out the new function you've programmed, you can select option 1, which is Execute Program. For the purposes of this tutorial, we will press 1 to execute the program to show how it works. At the very top, you will see PRGM, which stands for Program, and the name we had previously defined, which is inverse F. It will give you the option to enter alpha. Let's say alpha is 0.45. And then we need to enter our first degree of freedom. Let's say it is 15. And we have 6 for the second degree of freedom. Once we're done, we need to press enter. As you can see, it might take a second or two for the calculator to process the calculation and then present the result to you. Here, the answer should be 1.17. Thank you for taking the time to watch this. I hope this was helpful. If you still need assistance, please feel free to stop by Dr. Clough's or one of the TA's office hours, and we'd be happy to help. Best of luck!